Well, good morning. It is Friday, July 20th. 2 weeks since the last garden update. And so I'm back out here. Just got through watering. Going to let you see what all's going on in the garden. Last time I showed you all the goodies, and I'm going to have to really back up. I don't trip and fall. Here is the petunias in the pot. If you go back and look at the first video, which is really interesting, you can see the difference in how much things have grown in 2 weeks. The sweet potato vine is basically taking over the bottom pot, so I'm going to probably have to prune it back some because it's actually choking out the other flowers in there. And I don't know why it likes it so well, but it does. And over here, there's the one of the pots with the dragon wing begonia, and you can see the vinca vine is hitting the ground now, and it's gotten really big and putting out tons of growth. Here is the pot with the petunias and the verbena and the sage, and it's starting to come over the top now a little bit. The verbena has really kind of taken over on the spreading, as you can see. Petunias are in there, and if I had it to do over again, I probably would have planted an extra petunia in there, but it's doing what it's supposed to do, really. Titan, say hello. He's out here helping me film. And then I told you last week, I showed you the fountain, but I didn't have it turned on, so I'm going to back up again slowly. You can see the fountain. And up here we have a clock, and I didn't show you that last time. So you can see it's 8:25. And then we'll keep panning around. The fern is still doing good. I haven't killed it yet. The limelight hydrangea is starting to bloom. It's going to be really pretty when it gets going in full bloom, probably another week. And then there's another one of my dragon wing begonia pots. I'm going to be in the light here, so it's doing real good. And then I wanted to show you my little project with this little rose bush I did. This rose bush was struggling. It doesn't get a lot of sun where it's at, unfortunately. It's a bad spot since these grasses grew up around it so tall. And I probably really ought to move it this fall, put it somewhere it gets more sun. But anyway, it has had an issue with black spot. And I decided, what the heck, I cut off all the leaves, all the branches, trimmed it back, and raked up all the crap off the ground, the leaves. And I said, if you want to live, you can live. If you don't, I'm going to dig you up. So look what it's doing. It's putting out. And I'm thinking about putting cornmeal around the bottom of it because I heard yesterday that cornmeal is a natural fungicide. So it's free. I got some in the kitchen, and I might try it. Okay, here are the geraniums. They're not putting out a lot of flowers yet, but they keep consistently having 2 or 3. Not as much as I would hope for, but anyway, they're doing okay. And then this is my basket that I had showed you, and now stuff's starting to come over the sides, and the petunias are starting to bloom and fill in into the alyssum. So that's going to be pretty. I'm hoping they just continue to fill in. Okay, the daylilies are still out there. They are starting to dwindle a bit, but they are still blooming. Now this is the pot that, let me back up a minute. This is the pot that I kind of rescued from Kroger. I ended up taking it out of the plastic. It really looks bad as far as it has no flowers much, but the biggest thing is it's turning green. It was yellow, and it's got lots and lots and lots of new growth coming on down in there. Little bitty. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but it's putting out pretty good down in there. So maybe in a couple more weeks, and then it might be the end of summer. But anyway, it's at least growing, and it's alive, and it's green. So it should be happier than it was. Now this is the sweet potatoes and the super bells that were in here. Sorry, I'm jumping around on the camera. The sweet potato has taken completely over. The super bells are barely showing. So this has been a failed project as far as doing what it was supposed to do. But the only thing is I've had Japanese beetle on this thing munching down. I've killed about 4 of them. And there's enough leaves that I can cut off the damaged leaves. It won't miss it. And I really maybe ought to prune it back a little bit too. Well, the sun's in my eyes and I can't even see what I'm doing here. Okay. Over here is the lanthanum and the super bells. Now they are doing really good. This is the one I told you I need to prune to make it bush. Well, I never did prune it. It's bushed on its own. So I'm glad I didn't. And then you can see it's got tons of little flowers and more buds, and it's not a fast grower, but it is growing quite a bit. And then I repotted my New Guinea impatient. It's been struggling, but it's coming back. The heat's about to get everything out here. We had temperatures in the mid-90s most of the week, and I think the same thing's going to happen today. So I water like crazy, and next morning I got to water like crazy again. So that is all the flowers on the patio, I think. Okay, head out to the garden, and you can see that the tomatoes and everything out here, especially if you go look at last week's video, have really grown. This is my big boy that I think it had a couple of blooms on it, maybe in one little tomato growing, and it's got several little tomatoes on there, and it's getting really good, tall, healthy looking plant. Peppers that I planted 2 weeks ago have buds in there for blooms. Everything is looking good. If you remember when I decided to put my cucumbers up vertically, I had a big spot here. I said I'm going to have to go get something. Well, I went and got a zucchini, and it's growing, and it probably will take over the entire garden before it's over with, but what the heck. Now you got to see these. Those are the cucumbers that I had just put the cages over when I did the video 2 weeks ago. And they are up to the next to the top rung up the tomato cage now. And I just keep sticking them in there, and then you can see that they just grab a hold. They're little tentacle things. And I help them a little bit every once in a while. I'll put a little something, then tie it so it keeps going in the right spot. But they're doing good, and I'm really excited about them. Over here we got more maters. This is the Abe Lincoln, and it is putting out pretty good. It's those tomatoes that are on there seem to be growing, so that's good. And it has gotten bigger. I went and looked at the video before I shot this one today, and I just couldn't get over. This is Mr. Stripey. He's turning into a very nice plant. And he's got some blooms. He still hasn't set fruit yet. Well, actually, I take that back. Right there. There's an itty bitty tomato. Now we'll see what that looks like in 2 weeks. These are my Romas again. I'm not loving them. Hopefully they're going to do better. what little tomatoes were on there that have turned red are so small. They're not much bigger than a Tommy toe. So, but they look healthy. So I guess they're doing all right. These bush tomatoes, I won't waste my breath on those much. They haven't put out any new growth. They haven't set any blossoms. And I think they must have been stunted when I got them. The fruit that's on there was on there when I got the plants. It is growing. But as soon as they turn red, they're out of here. They're a waste of garden real estate. So I'll put something else there. I need to maybe stick a couple of broccolis or cauliflower for the fall there anyway. All right, there's a nice one that's starting to turn, and that is on my Better Boy. And I know I'm in my own shade. I got the sun's. Last time I shot it, it was cloudy. Now I have the sun in my shining down, so the lighting may be a little weird. But you can see these are the Roma tomato, and they're just not very big. So I'm not going to fool with those next year. Actually, I've ordered some heirloom Roma, well, they're not called Roma tomatoes. They're called Polish Lewinsky's that look like huge plum tomatoes, and they are supposed to do really good. So, like real meaty, and that's what I wanted for sauce. So, and this is a Cherokee Purple, which, oh man, I hope it grows, because I keep reading reviews on the Cherokee Purple. People say it's like the best fruit ever to eat, best tomatoes they've ever eaten in their lives. And it's growing. It's just growing slowly. And it's got a couple little blooms on there, and I put sprayed everything with apple juice, all the blooms this morning with apple juice. That helps set them, because the heat doesn't make them drop. So and there's Mr. Abe Lincoln again. Now the only thing that hasn't done, before I go over there, this is what we worked on last weekend. This is my new square foot garden. I have 2 boxes we made. They're 4x4. And we did a mix of compost, which we used like 4 different kinds of compost, and vermiculite and peat moss, third and third and third. And then you mix that up and you put it in your boxes. And I'm going to plant peas on this last row right here, or the first one on the right. So I haven't got anything planted in there yet because it's too hot to plant the peas yet. But I went ahead and planted the rest of the squares. And I've got carrots and bush beans and some onions. And I don't know how the onions will do since it's so hot, but I'm hoping that they'll come up. Might get a few. The other box I have not planted yet, and that's reserved. That's going to be my fall garden. So I'm going to put like kale and spinach and some things like that over there in that one. Fill it up. And then as the summer garden starts to die down, hopefully I can add a few more things over there. I bought some PVC piping. I'm going to do like hoops over both ends and get some shade cloth to cover up from the heat the seedlings come up. And then also it'll serve as frost cloth when it starts getting colder, and hopefully I'll be able to keep things going out here a little bit in these boxes till it freezes. So that is that. So hang on a second. I was going to show you something, and then I got sidetracked. I don't remember what it was. Oh yeah, hold on. I'll get you there. Okay, the only thing that hasn't done well in the last 2 weeks are my raspberries, and I am partially to blame. I made a mistake and came out here and watered with a tonic that had dish soap for bugs and beer and cola and all this stuff that's supposed to be super good for everything and kill bugs. And it had a little bit of household ammonia in it. And I sprayed the leaves, and the sun was already hitting them. And so, yeah. So I pretty much fried some of them. They're trying to come back, but they don't look as good as they did 2 weeks ago when I first transplanted them. So we'll see. But If they don't want to live, I can plant something else there. So I told them, I said, you can live, or cantaloupe may go where you are next year. So we better be good. And then I have another new toy. Every 2 weeks I have a new toy. This is our composter that I put together all by myself. Thank you very much. And with Brad helped me hold some screws, but I couldn't reach. But it took me a little bit of time. But it has these handles, and you can, I can't see what I'm doing. You pull them down to rotate the thing, which I've already turned it today. It's got a little lock pin over here. You unlock it, and then it will turn. It's really heavy, so I don't think I can do it with one hand. But I'll show you. And you can see we got compost going. And I can feel a little bit of heat off of it when I open it up. That's good. Shut it back up. And if I could do this one-armed, I'd show you, but you just pull on these handles. They're all around the side of the thing. And then you just turn your compost. I'm going to set the lock back in here. Oh, I already did. Okay. And down here underneath my compost bin, I have something coming up, and I swear I think it's a pumpkin or a squash from last year's compost that must have fallen on the ground that didn't decompose, which goes to show you that the compost bin I had been using wasn't doing very good, and I wasn't doing a very good job with it. So that was it right here. So this kind of just going to be a holding bin until I get this batch finished, and then when I can unload that batch, then I'll start another one from that batch. Well, that's kind of the tour of the place today. 2 weeks update. Boo Boo, he's out in the sun. Boo Boo, do you have anything you want to say? No, I think he says no. All right. But I'll get this sent to you, and then 2 weeks from now, maybe we'll do this again. All right. Bye.